Hey, everybody. Here's a quick word about our sponsors. First one being LASRApp. You can find them at www.lasrapp.com. They're a laser activated shot reporter. They're amazing what it can do, all of the things that you can do with it, multiple guns, multiple locations, any type of target. They have a smorgasbord of items on their website store. Check them out. Use the affiliate link below or on our website, casualshooterpodcast.com, and use the code CSP 2021 for up to 15% off items not covered by the affiliate link. Next up, we have Gun Butter. I am one of those people that I clean my gun all the time because I feel like you've always got to clean the crud and put a fresh coat of lubrication on it. That's because of the stuff we had to use in the military. I didn't like it, but I have finally landed on something I can get behind, and that is gun butter. I did not shoot. I'm. I did not clean my gun at all at Nationals. I did not clean it after the match before Nationals, nor the match before that. And there's still gun butter oil on my gun. And I'm going to be using their grease on the lugs of my bolt gun. Next, we have HOIST. It is IV level hydration. It's clinically proven to absorb 110% faster than water. You've got all the right ingredients of your electrolytes that you need: magnesium, calcium, sodium, potassium. It's all in there. A little bit of sugar, but that mixes the right amount to make it absorb rapidly so it's not sitting in your belly and weighing you down. So check it out. Get hydrated, stay hydrated. And thanks for checking out our sponsors. It helps with the podcast. Welcome to this week's edition of the Casual Shooters podcast, your premier podcast for the casual shooter. This week, we have a guest that's an up-and-comer. He was A-class in limited division until he just won A-class at Racegun Nationals. Welcome soon to be minted masterclass shooter, Brody Adkison. How you doing, Brody?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. Why don't you go ahead and take a second and introduce yourself?
All right. My name is Brody Adkison. I'm 17 years old and I'm limited A class. I've been shooting USPSA for 6 years. I shot Rimfire Challenge for a few years before that. I started that whenever I was 8.
8.
Yeah.
And that was Rimfire Challenge?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've listened to the podcast before.
I've listened to a few episodes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to start off with the hardest questions of your life.
All
All
right.
right.
Yep.
The first one being, what's your favorite movie?
I'm a really big fan of the Jason Bourne movies. 3. That one was 4. It was all right. I didn't like it as much. It was all right, but I didn't like it as much.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't care for it either. So there are 5 then, is what you're saying. 5 of the movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, I've seen them all and I like them a lot myself. So, but that was the one I did not care for. I was like, they should just delete that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely my least favorite out of all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Now your favorite book.
I like 1984 by George Orwell.
Good. And it's
Definitely
coming
be my favorite.
to it's coming to fruition.
Yeah. Yep.
Big
is.
brother spying on everybody.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you're into superheroes. If not, we'll go with a historical figure or a mentor or whatever, but what's your favorite superhero?
I'm definitely not super into superheroes.
Okay.
I like Thor. Thor's pretty cool. If I had
Go
to go
ahead.
with a superhero, it would be Thor. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite historical figure or a mentor or anything?
George Washington's pretty cool. Definitely can't go wrong with that one. Theodore Roosevelt. He's one of my favorites
Ooh.
too.
Okay, now we're gonna have to talk about this. Why do you like Teddy?
I don't know. He hunted a lot. He did lots for national parks, all
He
that stuff.
started the national park system.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, yeah, he's a great conservationist.
Hmm.
Okay, your favorite gun and caliber, and they don't have to be married together. It doesn't have to be 1911 and 45.
Right. My favorite gun would probably be an M1 Grand. Um, just got one of those for working at Badger Ordnance for 1 year. My boss gave me one. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Definitely, the historicalness to it is very cool to me.
Any plans on shooting it in any competition?
I might eventually. Like service rifle and stuff, it doesn't appeal to me a lot. But I might give it a try at some point too. So,
Okay. What about any long range stuff like PRS, anything like that?
um, like kind of in the same camp as like service rifle. Doesn't interest me a lot, but I definitely wouldn't be opposed to trying it at some point.
Now, what about there's the new one. I want to say it's called NRL, but they use animal steel out
Yeah, I think I've
at
seen that one.
different distances. Now
Hmm.
you hunt, right?
Yes, I do.
So would anything like that then interest you?
It would interest me more. That
Okay.
I'm not. I don't shoot much rifle. The just don't. We don't really have much anything bigger than like a 223. So um,
Okay.
definitely have to explore that a little bit to know it much.
Okay. So you're basically, I don't want to say strictly an action pistol guy, but primarily an action pistol guy.
As far as competition goes, yeah.
All right, final one. For the final one, I'm going to give you the national champion questionnaire.
Okay.
How tall are you?
I am 5'8" on a good day.
So you're going to have to go the route of Christian Seiler then.
Yeah.
Did you grow up on a farm?
Um, I did not grow up on a farm. We have a farm and we spend a lot of time there. But we do live in Kansas City. But you could say I grew up on a farm. Yeah.
Okay. We'll take that as a plus. And were or are you homeschooled?
I am homeschooled. Yes.
Uh-oh, there we go. 2 out of the 3 right there.
Yep.
We have found that the younger generation,
Hmm.
like your age and um, up to about 21, that the ones who do really, really well all seem to have grown up on a farm and were homeschooled. But I don't know if you've looked at some of the super squads, but those guys are as tall as trees.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely a size aspect to it that definitely helps them,
Yeah,
especially in limited.
agree. I mean, Mason Lane's what, 7 foot tall?
He's pretty tall.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
almost there. Yeah. He's like brushing up against it. Good guy too. So I'm not
Yeah.
giving him a hard time. The guys Nils, tall, Mason,
Yeah.
tall. They're all tall. They're all
Yeah.
cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely not fair.
No, definitely not. I always wondered how Max Leograndis and Christian Seiler did it.
Yeah.
They must have a cheat code somewhere.
Yeah. Just gotta work that much harder.
Exactly. Now I want to go back. When you introduced yourself, you said you
Uh-huh.
were shooting a rimfire challenge at 8 years old.
Yes.
So when did you first shoot a gun?
Um, well, I guess I don't really remember. I was probably 3 or so.
So
I mean,
very young.
I had a BB gun, that, my dad cut the stock off of, and we made a new one that was shorter so I could shoot it in the backyard. So I mean, shooting's been something that I've been doing forever, basically.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah. All right. Now, how did you get into rimfire challenge?
well, we always watched Shooting USA. That was something that we always watched. And then my mom was looking at videos one day, and she saw this girl shooting rimfire challenge, and she thought that would be a good sport for me to get into. So we looked up where a local club was, found that it was going to be the Missouri State match was going to be held there, and we went and spectated that, and then started shooting that not long after.
How long did you shoot Rimfire Challenge before you moved on to something else?
I shot it for about 3 years, I think. I started USPSA whenever I was 11, but I shot Steel Challenge or Rimfire Challenge and USPSA both at a time.
No Steel Challenge?
I've never shot Steel Challenge.
Okay. Any desire to shoot Steel Challenge?
I do think it would be fun. Definitely, I don't think it would be quite as fun as USPSA, but I think there's some good training aspects that could come from it.
I agree. I
my
totally agree
local
with what. Go ahead.
my local club at Higginsville, Missouri, the Lafayette County Gun Club, they don't have a Steel Challenge match, so I would have to go somewhere else find one.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely feel that there are aspects of it that would help in USPSA shooting. One being transitions. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
that the whole match is transitioning from one target to the next and not overshooting, not leaving the target too
right.
soon. So
Yeah, that is Steel Challenge, so it would be a lot of practice on transitions.
the only thing I have found is sometimes it can take forever because like at the local matches, you can shoot more than one gun. So sometimes those squads take forever to get through a stage. So that can get actually
Yeah,
boring.
yeah, it can.
All right. So you started shooting USPSA at 11.
Yes,
Production, I assume?
I started in limited. I originally shot a M&P, just a regular 4.25 inch barrel. I mean, in the beginning, I didn't even have extended mags. I just shot 17-round mags for my first year. That's what I shot, and then my second year, we got an MP 5-inch. We got a mag well for that and some extended mags. Originally, I was planning to shoot production after I was big enough to put enough mags on my waist, but I liked limited a lot, so just stuck with that.
Now, did you start off shooting major power factor?
No, I
Okay.
didn't.
All right.
My first 3 or 4 years, I didn't. I shot minor.
I was gonna say if you started off at 11 shooting major power factor, then I understand why you did as well as you did.
No, no,
That
no. Major's
would be
still
impressive.
relatively new for me.
Oh, okay.
Well, not new, but I shot minor. I've shot minor longer than I've shot major.
Now, what exactly are you shooting at M&P now?
No, I'm shooting at 2011 now. Back it was probably my third year or so. I was shooting our state match. The Delaney's from St. Louis saw me shoot. They came up to me and asked me if I was going to keep shooting for very long, if I was going to stick with it. I said, yeah. And they said that they had a STI Edge sitting in their safe that they weren't using, and they would give it to me basically. So that's how that was the main thing that's kept me in limited. After that, I was planning on shooting production, but after that happened, I decided to stay in limited. Since then, I've had some work done on it. I bought a new one, a DVC, and then I put a new slide on my original Edge.
Is that your backup gun now or your training gun or?
The DVC is my backup gun. My
Okay.
original one that I had the work done on is my primary.
As we alluded to earlier, you just shot Racegun Nationals. You
Mm-hmm.
finished 19th, very high finish. You won A class, so obviously you're not going to be A class anymore. Now, what has your training looked like up to this point?
Like this year or in the years past?
I would say starting from the time you started shooting major to now.
Okay. All right. I think I've been shooting major for 3 years, if I remember that right. I mean, in the beginning, I didn't dry fire a whole lot. I didn't even shoot that much. Mainly just our club match every week or every month, and our state match. So I mean, I was only shooting 7 matches a year, maybe. Really until last year was when I really started to shoot a lot of matches. But back then, I would shoot, maybe live fire once a month, dry fire two or three times a week at the most. But last year, I really tried to up my dry fire. I started dry firing 3, 4 times a week. I started live firing, at least trying to do drive live fire once a week. And then this year, I started live firing twice a week. I dry fire almost daily. And then this year I've gone in, like, I kind of ramped up. We turkey hunt a lot. Like, we take turkey hunting almost as seriously or more seriously as we do shooting. So my season doesn't even start until after turkey season, so May. So, and like, starting in May, I would dry fire 2, 3 times a week, maybe live fire once a week. And then as it got later in the season, I would start dry firing in longer increments, and then dry firing more times per week, to the point where I was dry firing pretty much 5, 6 times a week for almost an hour, and then live firing twice a week.
Now, did you get a lot of gains during your dry fire this year?
I did. I did. Mainly in my grip. Like, I don't use a timer a lot. I use a timer probably 25% of the time. The rest of the time, I just spend drawing and getting a good grip, and then doing transitions where I really focus on leading with my eyes and finding a precise spot. That makes up a lot of what my dry fire is.
So you don't even use the timer for the beep to start?
No, not typically.
Now, when you say you live fire, how long are your live fire sessions? Like, how many rounds are you shooting when you're doing your live fire training?
Well, when I started this year, I was probably only shooting 100 rounds per section. So like 100 rounds once a week, maybe. But as it got later in the season, like about probably August or so, I upped that to 200 rounds per session, and then I upped that, to 2 sessions a week. So I was shooting about 400 rounds per.
I mean, you just quadrupled what you started. So
Hmm.
that's pretty significant increase.
Yeah.
What type of drills were you running in live fire?
I run a lot. I run a lot of doubles. I mean, doubles. If I shoot 200 rounds, pretty much 150 of that, or 100 of it, is doubles. I probably shoot 100 rounds of doubles, and then 50 rounds of practical accuracy, another 50 rounds on transition stuff, typically.
Now, did you say tactical or practical accuracy?
Practical accuracy.
I wanted to make sure I heard you right. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
hearing's not so great. So
Yeah.
define then practical accuracy.
So practical accuracy is one of Ben Steger's drills. It's in a lot of his books. It's target at whatever range you desire, basically. It's 6 rounds, and then so you draw, fire your first round, and as soon as you see your front sight come back down to where you're looking, you pull the trigger again. So you do that 6 times. So bang, 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 and then you reholster and you do that 6 times. So I believe it's a 36 round drill. Really focuses like on your grip, making the gun recoil straight up and come straight back down to where you're looking.
And I take it you've seen good gains off of it.
Yeah, that's probably been my favorite drill, or the
Okay.
one that I've seen the most improvement.
Yeah, I've got a couple of his books. He has some good books. Do you ever do his he had a warm-up drill that I like to use when I dry fire, which is where you just kind of keep your hands up, you start the timer, and as soon as you hear the beep, you slap the timer. I put it like down where my holster is. There's no gun in my holster. I just put it there. Because
Huh.
what I noticed was when I would start dry firing, it would take me 5 minutes. We'll say 5 minutes, okay,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of warm up, to really speed up my draw when I first started. Then I
Right.
ran across this other, I'll call warm up drill, and I could run that 4 or 5 times. That's all it takes, 4 or 5 times, and just the waiting for that beep. And as soon as I hear it trying to beat my hand trying to beat the sound where I could slap holster before, or the timer before the sound stopped, which is 0.3 of a second.
Right.
And about 5 times, I'm like, I am warmed up, ready to go. Everything's
Yeah.
good to go. So I have found I'll even do it at local matches. I'll just go to a safe area and without even the timer, just as quick as I can, just to warm
Yeah.
up. It's a pretty good little warm up drill. It works for me.
Yeah.
Not everything works for everybody, but
That's interesting. I haven't seen that one yet. I might have to give that one a try.
I forget where I found. I'll have to look for it again, but it's in. I believe it's in one of his books. I'm pretty sure it's where I got it from. I was like, speeds up my dry fire practice, or at least gets me into
Yeah.
the meat of it quicker. So, now, have you taken any classes with anybody?
I have taken a few classes. I took a Tim Herron class back in, what was it, 2018, I believe. So it was
Okay.
just my second year of shooting. I took one of his classes. I really liked it a lot. I definitely wasn't at the age to really make the most of it yet. I wasn't training much then to make the most of it, but I did like it a lot. I've taken 2 Merle Eddington classes, and then I've also taken 2 of Ben Steger's classes. I took his fundamentals last year, and then I took his skills and drills this year.
Yeah, that's a lot of classes.
Yeah, it's been about 1 per year.
So projecting to next year, what do you think you'll take next year then?
I don't know. I was thinking about not taking a class next year and trying seeing if I can make another major match somewhere, like kind of have another match take the place of a class. Yeah,
Just kind of put into practice all you've already learned.
right. Try and implement it all, because that's what I've found this year is I kind of ran out of matches. I don't shoot a whole ton of matches.
So how many matches did you shoot this year?
I shot, let's see, I think I shot 6 club matches, and then I shot 8 major matches.
What were your major matches?
I shot the Ozark Classic in March, and then I shot the Cornhusker Classic. I shot the Kansas State match. Then I shot the Illinois sectional, the Southern Illinois section. Then I shot the Arkansas sectional, and then I shot Area 4. And Area 4 was my first ever level 3 match. So that was fun. Then I shot the Missouri State match, and then national.
So that is quite a few majors. So do you think shooting those major matches helped prepare you for that type of competition at nationals?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely found that I've gotten the most, I think, out of major matches this year, like compared to like club matches or even my practice sessions. Sometimes I learn more from major matches than I do anything else.
And why do you think that is?
I think the pressure of it has a lot to do with it. It shows a lot of your weaknesses. I think that would probably be the biggest reason for it. Just a lot more pressure, a lot more tension. It shows all the flaws in your game, especially since it's strung out over so many stages.
Now you're in a pretty warm area of the country in the summer. So
yeah, it gets pretty warm here.
So how does shooting those major matches, which typically have more stages to shoot in the warmer time of the year, do you think it helps shooting those to maintain your focus over a 10 or 12 stage match?
Absolutely. I think it does amplify. You have to increase just how much thought and effort you put into it, because if you don't put a lot of effort out into your preparation to those matches, you won't last long. Your performance will suffer, and your just head game won't be there.
Yeah, for sure. You'll start off high on stage 1, and then by the time you get done, you're going to be down at the bottom, just like, oh, ready for this to be done and over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was this your first national?
It was.
So you got your first taste. How did you enjoy it?
I liked it a lot. It definitely had a different feeling to it. A lot more pressure to it. It felt like, being that far away from home was definitely different too. I liked it a lot.
Now, did you go by yourself, or did someone from your family go with you?
No, my whole family went. So my mom, dad, and sister all went.
So now that you've done one, I love shooting nationals. I've only shot 3, but I love them. It's a totally different vibe,
Yeah.
Do you plan on continuing to shoot nationals year after year now?
Yeah, I do. Next year's is already scheduled for Ohio, I believe. We already have an Airbnb booked for that. So yeah, I do plan on shooting them for a while.
Normally I leave these towards the end, but I'm going to ask this question now so we can expand on it in other ways. What is your goal for USPSA?
I mean, I'd like to, be able to win nationals. I think it would definitely be cool to be able to go to a world shoot sometime. I definitely have high aspirations. Win nationals and win even bigger.
Okay, so this is not just going to be a hobby for you. You are intent on taking it to the next step and trying to win it all.
Yeah.
So that leads into the question. So you shot 8 majors this year.
hmm
You've upped your training. Now, what is next year going to look like? Like, so are you taking an off season? When do you plan on starting and shooting again? And what do you think your training and match schedule is going to look like next year?
I do plan to take an off season. Probably I'm gonna shoot this weekend. And then I plan to take a little bit of a break. Not touch the guns for a while, maybe a month or so. And then I plan to do some lighter dry fire, a couple times a week, not super, not super long sessions. I'll probably start shooting matches again, probably April, May. I might try and get one in March, but then I'll start live firing consistently, probably June or so, and really trying to up my dry fire sooner in the year this year.
When is limited nationals next year?
I believe it is October 10th.
Because like I know I've already taken off the time to shoot the Carry Optics National, but that's in June. I consider
Yeah.
that really early. So do you see yourself shooting the same number of majors next year? Or I know you said you're probably going to not take a class, so and then take that money and put it towards another match. So that
Mm.
would that be another major then?
Yeah, I'll probably try and make Area 3 next year. I might not go to the Illinois match. It was pretty far for me this year.
Okay.
So I'll definitely be making Area 3, and then I'll have to look around and see what other matches are out there. Try and see if there's any more of them that are kind of like within 4 or 5 hours.
So you think you would do area 4 and area 3 then?
I've heard the Area 4 could be going like pretty far into Texas. Because
Okay.
it has been in Tulsa, and so that's not it's like 4 hours from here. But if it goes into Texas very far, that'll probably be a little bit too far.
Yeah, that could be a heck of a drive.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard. I've got a trivia question for you. What's halfway between Houston and Los Angeles?
That would be looking for a city, or
Yep, there's a city halfway between Houston and LA.
it'd be like north part of Arizona, right?
Nope,
I don't know.
It's El Paso.
El Paso, right? Yeah. Okay.
So halfway to LA, you're still in Texas.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that puts everything into perspective right there. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's a big state.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, it wouldn't take to go too deep into Texas, and yeah, from where you are in St. Louis, that'd be a drive.
Kansas City, but yeah.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, Kansas City. So any desire to shoot dot, whether it be open, carry optics, PCC, anything?
I do plan to dabble a little bit in carry optics, kind of later in the winter. I have a Glock slide that I got milled that I plan to put a red dot on and shoot it a little bit, mainly for training purposes. But I might try and make a few club matches with it.
Now,
But
what do you
I
mean
don't.
by training purpose?
I find that I struggle to stay target focused. Being able to occlude my red dot and force myself to be target focused, and then also having the red dot right there to show me the flaws that I have in my grip. I feel like that could be very helpful for when I switch back to irons.
I've seen some people occluding their front sight post
I've seen that too.
on. What do you think of
Yeah,
that?
definitely is interesting. Probably going to give it a try. Something that I've done that before, like with like stick a piece of tape to my front sight and dry fire. Only problem is you can't draw or anything after that.
I'm wondering if you could.
Transitioning with it.
Right. I'm wondering if there's still a way to, even if it bends over a little bit onto your front sight. I wonder if there's still a way. I don't know. I
Yeah, I
don't.
mean, I'm sure there is. Nobody's just invented it yet.
So when do you find that you're not as focused on the target as you need to be?
Definitely, I feel like farther shots, I struggle with that. Or maybe you just notice it more on target farther shots. Like transitions, I tend to not lead with my eyes very well. They very centered on the gun and just move the gun and my eyes at the same time.
interesting to me that you have these things that you know that you're still working on, but I would consider you're still shooting at a high level, even if you're not leading with your eyes. I figured that would affect your score more than it has.
Yeah, I tend to do better on the more physical stages, fairly athletic. I can run fairly fast, I can shoot the more physical stages pretty well to kind of make up for that a little bit. I definitely don't think I could get much farther without being able to solve that problem.
Okay.
I definitely feel like I hit the limit of like what I can do doing it wrong. I'm at the point where I need to do it right to get much farther.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be more critical to fix all these little things going on in order to keep progressing and moving up that chain. Now, do you have any type of, do you have a GoPro? Do you have, like, I have aim cam glasses.
Okay.
So there's literally a camera that hangs off of a mount right here by my eye.
Yeah.
And, and I was like, I knew that initially I was doing the same thing you're talking about. I was
Hmm.
moving the gun and my eyes together. Like I didn't want to lose my sight picture, so I'm following the
Right.
dot over.
Yeah.
So I started practicing it hard and I shot a match one time and I was like, I wasn't sure. I was like, am I still doing that? And I was able to go back and look at the footage. And then I could see that my head was turning and then the gun was following. So it's like, okay. So I'm asking if you have like a GoPro or any type of camera where you might be able to film yourself to see if you're doing it.
Yeah, I do. It's an optics camera, is what it's called. It has just a little clip that clips to your hat. It's pretty small. It's like the whole thing's only about that long, and it's like a magnet. It just sticks to the clip that you can stick on your hat.
Now, do you use that during matches?
I do, yes.
Okay, so that's the footage that I've seen on your Instagram, I guess.
Yes, it is.
Do you ever go back through your video footage to see what you're doing or not doing like that?
Yeah, I have. I do. Almost all my matches, I'll go back through and look at all my videos for a while and try and really dissect what it is that I've done wrong.
Now you load your own ammo?
Yes, we do.
Okay, you use coated bullets or jacketed or
Coated, yeah, coated. We use
okay.
DG bullets mainly, but we also use Rubens, just basically whatever we can get.
What grain bullet are you using?
180 grain.
You mentioned that you were considering dabbling in carry optics. Do you like I've talked to a few people and they're like I want to focus on this division and then, when I reach my goals there, then I'll look to start branching out after that. Is that where you are or do you see yourself where you're
Mhm.
just going to basically shoot one division forever?
I plan to just basically have limited as my main division. Um, going to be what I shoot for a long time. That's what I'm going to spend most of my competing time in. I might shoot a club match or two, and carry optics just to mess around with it, change some things, see what I can learn.
What is it about limited that you enjoy?
Um, kind of like the simplicity of it, but you can still go fast. Major scoring is nice. I don't shoot very good points. um, so I definitely make the most of major.
You remind me talking of Gianni Giordani
Mm, yeah.
because he's the same way. He's like, he would just wants to shoot limited. That's what he
Hmm.
enjoys. So that's
Yeah.
what it reminds me.
It's the most balanced, I feel, of all the divisions. Like carry optics, you can basically just have whatever you want, other than a magwell and a comp.
Yeah,
Open
it's a
doesn't
poor
even feel
poor man's
open
open.
doesn't even feel like a real gun anymore at that point. Something out of Star Wars. So I
Yeah,
feel like limited is the happy medium.
you get a little bit of what open offers, but iron sights. I get it. Now you mentioned you wouldn't mind doing a world shoot. Have you shot any IPSC matches?
I have not.
Is that something you see doing in the near future?
In the near future, no. I don't think it's something that's going to be quite ready to do in the near future, but in a few years, I definitely wouldn't mind.
Did you see any of the videos from the Pan American Games?
I did.
Other than
Seemed
the
very.
mud, what did you think of the stages?
I liked it a lot. From what I've read, IPSC is significantly different in the way that they design stages. Seems like it's a lot more running but less rounds.
Yeah, and
Which
you have to
seems.
stay within the lines.
Yeah.
It's like coloring.
So I do feel like that would be something that would suit me a little bit better. But I do think it would be fun.
You think you could? You think your physicality, you'd be able to take advantage of that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like in IPSC, the more athletic you are, since everyone has to travel the same route, I feel like whoever's quicker is going to get a little bit of an advantage there.
Right.
What do you think of their targets?
I don't like them at all. I think they suck.
I shot the last year I shot Delmarva, and I have in dry fire training, I'll put a dot on the targets and train myself to look at the dot on different targets. So when I go to a match, I already know where I'm going to engage the targets. Like I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Well, I went to Delmarva and I'm like, they had all these IPSC targets, and in one of them they had turned an odd direction, and I was like, I don't even know where to aim. I had to walk out to the target and look at it and go, okay, I'm going to shoot right there. I need to aim right there.
Yeah.
I was like, what in the world? So they're different.
Yeah.
I do kind of like them. I think that I think for people who are a little slower on the shooting like me, they help because they kind of, if you're not careful, you're definitely gonna lose some points,
Right. Yeah.
So it'll have a tendency, especially the farther ones, to slow everybody down a little bit. So
yeah.
I mean, it's not slow. It's not. Go ahead.
If I was going to shoot them far away, I would probably rather shoot the IPSC targets just because they're round and just shoot in the middle of them as opposed to a USPSA target. You can shoot in the middle of a USPSA target, but seems like it's easier to favor one side or the other, or aim, a little too high or a little too low. On an IPSC target, you can just shoot right in the middle of it.
Yeah, it is a little oblong, but yeah, for sure. If it's an open target, yeah, you're just bang, bang right in the middle. So you're 17. What year of high school are you in?
I already graduated high school. I graduated high school this spring.
Are you going to college?
I'll probably start some online college classes probably over the winter.
So what I'm trying to figure out is, do you have a plan to be able to work shooting into life now?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely already been a little bit harder because I'm working almost full time. So it is a little bit more challenging now to fit it all in. Throw in some college on top of that. It'll definitely be hard. I'll have to prioritize more.
Right.
I'll have to stay on task a little bit better than I am now.
Your long-term shooting goals. Do you see yourself going down the route of like a Tim Herron, where that becomes what you do, or do you just plan on working in the shooting industry or something completely different altogether?
I definitely like to work in the shooting industry. I don't know necessarily about teaching classes. That's something that I might warm up to a little bit, but I like working in the shooting industry.
Do you work for anybody in the shooting industry now?
I do. Yeah. I work for Badger Ordnance. We do a lot of like precision rifle stuff, but then we also have like some C1, some AR accessories. We have some military contracts.
But you don't shoot rifle.
No, I don't.
Okay. And that working there doesn't even make you want to do it, huh?
It does a little bit more than if I didn't work there, but
okay.
But long range stuff just doesn't appeal to me very much.
Okay, fair enough. That's where I started my game, so I have an affinity for it.
Yeah.
And you're sponsored by Everhart?
Yes.
Who are they?
They're an outdoor store in Clinton, Missouri. They have basically everything. They have a lot of fishing stuff. You know, if you're into fishing, but their hunting section is really good, and they have a lot of stuff in the shooting, like guns and ammo and stuff like that. So they help me up with hook me up with some components. Obviously, I still pay for them, but this time it's kind of hard to find primers, so they'll squirrel some away from me for me.
That's an
And
understatement.
yeah,
Is that the post you put on Instagram?
I did. Yeah,
The fair. Okay,
yeah,
it was very kind of them.
it was. Yeah,
So
definitely still cost me, but I I was able to find them. So at this point, I'll I'll pay whatever price if I can find them.
you're definitely going to pay for them. That's for sure. I want to go back for a second. You said you would start shooting after turkey season.
Yes.
So you shoot every year. So you hunt turkey every season.
hmm
How many turkeys do you normally harvest?
Um, I typically take one or two. It depends on how well I did that season. A few years ago, I was able to take four. I was able to take two in Kansas and then two here in Missouri. But this year, it was a tough season. I only got one. It kind of just depends on how the season is. I typically just shoot for one. If I get one, I'm happy.
So it's a successful season.
Yeah, if I just get on the board, it's successful. It's not easy.
Right. How hard is it shooting them with a 2011?
The turkeys,
Yeah, you don't shoot rifle, so I assume it's your
it's
2011.
shotgun. It's shotgun.
Okay. All right. I've known plenty of people who will shoot or hunt them with a 22 also.
Yeah, yeah. There's some specific seasons I know for that. I don't think either Kansas or Missouri have a 22 season, but I could be wrong on that.
Oh. So, all right. So let's talk about it then. What, 12 gauge?
Yeah, yeah.
Choked?
It has a can't remember the exact choke, but it's like an extra full turkey choke.
Okay.
It's a Benelli Nova.
And what load are you running?
I'll either use Fiocchi 6-shot, I believe it is 6-shot 2 3/8 out, or I do have a few tungsten loads.
Hmm.
They're pretty expensive. They're almost worse than primers. So
Oof.
I kind of save them.
Yeah, that's going to leave a mark on the wallet.
Yeah.
Do you hunt any other animals?
Yeah. We hunt a lot. We squirrel hunt. We coon hunt. We deer hunt a lot too. That's right around the corner here, coming up a few weeks. And then we do a lot of predator hunting too, like coyotes and bobcats.
You've got a lot of that around you?
Yeah, on our farm we do. We have quite a few coyotes and bobcats. We have to go to some to some land around us for turkeys. We don't do very well in the turkey category on our farm, but we do have a lot of game.
So are you able to hunt deer on your property then? Do they come on there? Okay.
Yep. We have quite a few deer.
So what are your life goals?
Well, I'd like to be able to just shoot as long as possible. I want to be able to be successful, obviously, in the shooting industry. You know, make shooting a focus in that. But I like to hunt a lot too, so I think trying to find a balance in that is definitely going to be important.
So what I'm hearing is you need to be like a sponsored shooter for a company that does it all.
Probably, yeah.
Do you see yourself being a professional shooter like Nils or a JJ or Max Michelle or Casey Eusebio, something like that?
I could definitely see that. Yeah. I'd definitely be aiming for that. Not
Okay.
necessarily have to have it, but I'd like to be at that level. I definitely in that doing that would not be bad.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad deal at all. Was there anything we didn't talk about or we did talk about that you wanted to expand on or?
I don't know. I guess we could talk a little bit more about dry fire.
Okay. Yeah, I'm all about it.
I forgot to mention I dry fire a lot in the yard in our backyard. So like every Tuesday night I set aside time that I set up more dynamic drills in our yard that I'll thumbtack targets up to our privacy fence and I'll use a plastic gun to not to freak the neighbors out.
All right. When you say plastic gun, are we talking airsoft or are we just talking?
No, I use a like a Cook's gun mold, like their yellow gun to make holsters with.
Okay.
It's bright yellow, doesn't
Right.
resemble a gun very well. So
Right. It's
I
just
figured,
the shape.
figured, yeah, but
Do you,
I do. I train movement and stuff mainly there.
so do you, okay. So when you're doing that and you're using that gun, are there sights on it that you can quasi aim or
Hmm.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, it does have sights on it, so that's nice. I can simulate that.
All right. So with your movement, then you can simulate having the gun up on the sights on the target and all of that by the time you get into position.
Yes,
Do you use a timer at that time at all?
I do typically use a timer for my yard work. Yeah.
Do you ever set up like partial stages so you're
Hmm.
doing multiple things?
Yes, I do. I'll set up targets on one side of our privacy fence, and then set up some vision barriers, and then like kind of set up some different arrays with movement and stuff, just to really work on entering and exiting positions.
So after you had these classes, you've had 4 of them. How do you think your dry fire changed?
It definitely got a lot more focus instead of just kind of getting the gun out and doing a few reps of draws, maybe doing some reloads. I started actually going into it with a plan. Today I'm going to only work transitions until I feel that they were adequate. Then I'll move on to draws or something like that.
Okay,
But I definitely,
how do you know what is adequate? Like how do you define adequate so you know, okay, I've reached that goal, I can move on to something else?
well, with my transitions, I would go till I really felt like I was able to move my eyes, then the gun, and then stop on a very specific spot on the target. That's in my terms that's adequate. Obviously not great, but better than it has been.
How many times do you have to do that before you go, okay, I've done it enough times adequately, then I can move on? Because obviously I wouldn't think it would be, oh, I did it one time, I'm good, I can move on. Like
Right.
how many reps are we looking at?
Probably 5 to 10, sometimes more. Really till feel like I'm able to do it consistently. That's my main goal. Really get to where I can get it consistently. So
Is there one dry fire drill that you consider a core drill that you do all the time?
slow draws mainly. I really work on getting a consistent grip, a good, consistent, solid grip, because that's something that I feel can break down very easily, especially in movement. So I do step and a draw, turns and draws, but typically I do that slower, not with a timer.
Do you do a scoop draw?
I do not know.
Yeah, I don't either. I feel like I would throw my gun and get
I
disqualified.
I've experimented with it a little bit, and I have done it in matches before. I just feel like it's not consistent enough.
That being a core drill, did you come up with that on your own, or was that something that came out of one of the training classes, or what?
That was mainly something that I came up with on my own. It did kind of stem from some classes. I felt like from the classes gone to, and then just analyzing my own practice sessions, grip is something that I tend to struggle with. I don't control recoil very well, just because I'm not very big. That has a lot to do with it. So I have to do it all right in terms of my grip.
When you say grip, are you talking about establishing a good strong hand grip when you're coming out of the holster, or are you talking about getting your weak hand where it needs to be so you can grip the gun to manage the recoil?
I would say both, really. Getting a good strong hand grip is very important for me. Getting that very consistent is important, but then really a consistent weak hand grip for me is a lot more important. That's the one I tend to struggle.
Have you ever watched any of Mike Seeklander's?
I did. I have a long time ago.
And I only say that because he has a video up where when he breaks down the grip, he'll practice starting with the strong hand grip and finding where his hand, like on his weak hand, on his index finger, where it makes contact with the trigger guard.
Hmm.
And he'll just practice that and rolling out constantly so that it's consistent all the time.
Yeah.
I've done that a few times to help too. So I pull stuff from everybody,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. You can't just pull from one source. Because
No,
you
absolutely.
can't do, everybody can't do it the exact same way. You have to find your own way.
Right. Yeah, I'll never move like JJ Racaza, that's for sure.
Right.
So I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
find someone else to look at movement.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. That's something that I do. Is just kind of start from the low ready and present the gun and try and get a solid support hand grip to where I'm really getting the meat of my hand on the side of the gun. That is something that I did. I didn't realize that was actually a thing.
Well, there you go. Looky there.
Yeah.
See? You're ready to start teaching.
I
Now,
don't know if I'm quite there yet, but
do you ever listen to Steve Anderson?
I do occasionally. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you now 19th at Nationals is a very solid finish.
Mhm.
Obviously, you've already mentioned some things you're going to work on to improve your skill, but are you doing anything to improve the mental focus and management of shooting?
Yeah. I felt like I was able to. That's something that it's been something I've been practicing all year long because I knew I was going to be going to nationals and I knew it was something that I was going to have to really dial in was my mental game. And it's something I've been working on a lot, really before the match, focusing on my breathing, trying to relax. Obviously, because of my name, I'll be going first on the first stage, typically every time.
Yep.
And kind of coming to that realization was important because going into the match, you can plan on being first, and then when they call your name, it's not a surprise. My first day at nationals, day one, it didn't go very well. My head was definitely not right. I kind of lacked some focus, a lack of focus on the correct things. I was focusing on wrong things, not what I needed to be. So
What do
that's
you mean
something that
by
I was
wrong things?
a lot of my like visualization, some of the cues I was using weren't correct. Like instead of looking to specific targets and specific spots on targets, I was thinking more about how I was going to be coming into position and stuff like that. So I should be just focusing more on the shooting part and then trying to let my movement just happen naturally. Whereas on the first day, I was thinking about I was thinking about too much really. Um, I needed to simplify
Mm,
it.
okay.
I need to simplify it and just try and let my fundamentals take over.
So do you think in dry fire in the yard that you could work on your movement to the point where it could be subconscious and it's not something you have to then worry about, period?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I do. Something that I do feel like I'm getting there on that. It's not. It'll never be a 100%, but I do feel I'm making improvements on that as far as just being able to not have to think about that as much and just worry about the shooting.
Yeah. Steve likes to always talk about a focus phrase before you shoot so that you're focused on the one thing you need to focus on it. Do you
Mhm.
use one of those?
I don't really. I haven't gotten to that point yet where I haven't tried that yet. No.
Ever plan on you would you ever consider taking, and I'm not asking you for me, I'm just curious,
Mm,
any type of mental management class or seeing like Rob Epifania was on and he actually
yeah,
saw a sports psychologist. Would you ever
yeah.
consider something like that?
I think that would be very interesting, and I would be interested in doing that for sure. I've read like Laney Basham's book. I've read that.
With winning in
Very
mind?
good book. Yeah, yeah. I like that a lot, and I've had lots of takeaways from that I've been able to implement. But I think more training in that's definitely.
I definitely agree with Steve that the higher up you go in the shooting world, the more mental the game becomes because your skill level is there, you know? Like you
Yeah.
have that. And let's just use Nils for example, because I feel like at the moment he might be the most consistent shooter. He's not winning every stage, but he's
Right.
also not losing every stage, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he's consistently up there and very flat, no ebb and flow, no peaks and valleys, you know?
Right. Right. Yeah. It's very important to stay consistent throughout the match. That's something that going into the last few matches that I shot this year before nationals, that was something that I was really trying to focus on because I had been earlier in the year, I'd been fairly consistent. I might have had one or two really good stages, but then I also might have had one or two really bad stages. And that was something that I was really trying to eliminate throughout like the later part of the year.
And I mean, I looked at your finishes and they were very, very consistent.
Yeah,
So
my day one was definitely very rocky. We started on the like second or third block of nationals, so
zone
it was
C.
like
Okay.
yeah, C zone. Let's see, that was like stage 15 to 20 or 14 to 20. I don't remember now.
Somewhere right through there.
And those were definitely not as good. Like I believe I had like 2 or 3 60th place.
You had a 60 and a 68.
Yeah, if I had been able to eliminate those, I might have been clean up some of the other things that I did like on day two. Like I believe my stage one was not very good. I believe it was like 30 something.
Stage one was 46.
46, yeah. And that was a big field course too. It had a lot of available points.
So what do you
If you
think happened?
I got going a little bit too fast. My stage plan kind of got mixed up in my head. Like I tried to do too much, too many things all at the same time, where I should have just gone to one spot and then tried to slow things down.
2 stages later, you had your best stage of the match. What did you do differently between those 2 stages?
So that was actually our first stage of that day. Stage three was our first stage on day two. So stage one would have been like our
Almost your
second to
last
last
stage.
stage.
Yeah.
I was definitely getting a little bit tired on by the time we got to stage one. But stage three, it was definitely a harder stage. It had a lot of farther shots. It had some very far poppers too, and that was when I just told myself that I was gonna see almost a perfect sight picture on every shot that I fired that stage. I wasn't gonna get ahead of myself. It fared pretty well for me.
Can you see that? Of course, I'm
Yeah,
going
I
to
do
ask
see
you right
that.
when you take a drink.
Yeah,
It's kind of like when you're eating dinner and someone asks you a question right when you put the food in your mouth. You're like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah."
right. Yeah.
So this is your stage 3 right here.
Yes.
So I'll let you talk us through it.
Okay.
You just nodded you're
So
ready.
that I believe that was like a hardcover shot there. I really wanted to, especially on those first couple shots of the day, I really wanted to be precise.
And
So
it looks
I took a lot of time on that.
and this is can you see my cursor?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So it looks like you're shooting at this target right here beside the wall
Yes, I am.
on the right one. Okay.
Yep.
So you engage that one first.
Yes. I had one makeup on the steel there. Um,
Okay.
I kind of started to. I was leaning out a little bit far. I didn't get right in the corner of that box, and so I was
Mm.
leaning a little bit, and I was kind of off balance. So that kind of led to that. That led to that makeup shot on the steel.
What were you in a position where you couldn't slide your right foot over any?
Yeah, it was. You had to get right in that right side of the box. You had to get pretty tight in there, and
Okay.
I didn't hit my position very well. My feet were pretty narrow, and I wasn't able to lean as far as I wanted to.
I got you. So now you've moved all the way over to the far right. You're in the other shooting box.
Hmm.
One target. So that had some, you had a tuxedo. You got some no shoot in there. And now you had to take the steel from that box. You couldn't see it
Correct.
from the
Yes.
other side, correct? Okay.
Correct.
That's what I thought. So you had a tuxedo in there on this side, and you've got a no shoot, and then you had the steel. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that was what, a 25 round stage. That was a pretty whoop. So that was a 25 round stage. So that's a pretty big course, if you want to call it
Yeah.
a large
It wasn't
course
the
on the
big. It wasn't
smaller
the
side.
biggest field course, but it was like
Right.
kind of a smaller field course.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like a smaller large or a larger medium or whatever you want to call
Right.
it. What video are we looking at here?
That would
Okay.
be my stage 1 of day 3. So that I believe that was stage 11.
Okay. Now stage 11 is a 29 round
Yeah.
field course, it looks like.
Yeah, it was one of the. I believe this was one of the biggest stages of the match as far as points go.
Oh, don't you love it when they make you run one direction and run back?
Right.
I hate
Having to
backtracking.
cover the same ground twice is not fun.
No, I hate that. And I'm not saying it makes it a bad stage. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I feel like it makes me feel like I'm wasting time, like I'm having to do a U-turn. When I'm going somewhere driving and I have to make a U-turn, I hate that. I'm like, I have to
Right.
backtrack. Dagnabbit.
Yeah.
That's what I
Having to.
feel like in these things.
Yeah.
Oh, is this just a different view of the same one?
No, this is. I believe that's stage 2. So that would have been last stage of our second day.
Gotcha. Those are some pretty good distance there.
I believe. Yeah, I think they were about 20 yards. I think
Okay.
some of them might have been about 25 yards. Yeah.
So, all right. Going back to Ben's drill,
Mhm.
practical accuracy. Does your practical accuracy drill help you with this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Whenever I shoot practical accuracy, I almost exclusively do it at 20 to 25 yards, and mainly for stages just like this one, because there's been a few of them now this year that have kind of resembled that, kind of just all open targets, about the same range, a little bit on the far side, and being able to just know what you need to see on those targets is very important.
Would you consider this then predictive shooting? Like you know what you're going to get based on what you're seeing?
So the predictive shooting would be taking one sight picture
In two
and
shots.
then 2 shots. That's predictive. I was shooting like reactive shooting there. I was reacting to a sight picture for
What
each
you're
shot.
seeing.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you feel when you got done here? How did you feel about the stage?
I felt like it went really well. I feel like my reload wasn't that great. When I reacquired my grip after my reload, my grip was not great. So I believe I threw 2 deltas after my reload, and dropping those points did not fare very well.
How did you feel about your movement?
I felt like my movement was pretty good on that. I was able to explode both directions. I felt like I probably could have got into a little bit better of a shooting position. I felt like I could have got a little bit lower, a little bit wider at all 3 spots. Overall, I felt like it was all right.
Now that you're done with nationals, it's only 4 days. Another thing from Steve Anderson is he likes the idea of a journal.
Mm-hmm.
By chance, have you written anything down about how you shot, what things you need to improve on, things like that?
Yeah, I have. I started making a list. I haven't gotten very far on it yet. I've still been going through my videos a lot lately, really trying to not miss anything. But I do plan to write down like my thoughts on it, some things that I felt like I could have done better.
The only reason I'm asking is it seems like a couple of times you've mentioned, not finding your spot when you're moving or, little things with your movement and your grip. I could see if you take time off, it would be easy to forget that come next spring,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, absolutely.
Eh,
Definitely important to make note of what you're seeing basically from your results.
Right. And I look, I'm not looking to become a national champion. I found this sport way too late in life.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but I mean, you have literally your whole life ahead of you
Hmm.
and you're young, you're athletic, you have all that. So I could see you being at, working at it hard enough, you could be at that pinnacle
Yeah.
of the shooting sport. So I could see where it would make a difference for you to be able to track, okay, let me go back. I need to start working on, obviously, the basics. I need to get warmed up, but
Yeah.
these were the things I noticed I needed to improve from last season.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to make notes and then be able to track those to see your progress basically is important.
Do you see you changing anything? Again, this is your first nationals. Do you feel you experienced anything that's going to fundamentally change the way you either live fire or dry fire?
No, honestly, I feel like it confirmed that what I've been doing is helping, that I've been able to make improvements. I've been able to go, okay, this has been a problem and I need to work to fix that, and then actually been able to so I encouraged that what I've been doing has been good. I plan to start earlier in the year next year. Like not wait quite so late, kind of ramp up. Like I waited till kind of August or so before I really dry fired hard and live fired a lot. I plan to do that earlier in the year, maybe start that early July, maybe even in June.
Do you feel like there was a point where you're like, okay, I want to do better, so now I'm going to start doing more, or was it just the fact that you were going to national?
It was I planned it out early in the season, like in the off season. I'd already made the plan that you know I was gonna dry fire a little bit throughout the off season or throughout the late winter, early spring, and then turkey season was going to happen. And then after turkey season, I was going to start getting on track as far as some kind of regimen, a little bit of dry fire, kind of like 2, 3 times a week, 30 minutes or so, live firing once a week. And then I wanted to really ramp up so I wasn't getting burnt out or anything by the time nationals came around. I wanted to be at my peak.
Okay, but now you feel like you could start that sooner and not be burned out.
Correct. Yeah, I definitely felt like I could have. I still had some left in the tank, and I could have started my ramp up sooner and still been at my peak.
So
Yeah.
you don't run out of energy as soon when you're younger.
Right.
It's a great feeling. All right, CMP. What did you think of CMP?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. Definitely the biggest range I've been to. I kind of liked the range in Tulsa a little bit better. I felt like the gravel on the pistol bays at the CMP range, it was pretty loose. The terrain at the Tulsa range was mostly grass or kind of sand, and I seem to like that a little bit better. But as far as the facility, I like it. It was really good. I like the CMP range a lot.
Yeah, it's a very nice facility. Did you guys have, I assume that you had the side-in bay available? It's like the pistol
Uh,
range,
I believe there was one available. Yeah.
but you
I
didn't use it.
never, I didn't use it. No.
Did you guys have any side matches there?
There wasn't a side match. No. Uh-uh.
Okay. Did you hear about the one at Carry Optics Nationals?
I saw that. Yeah. It was a builder or whatever, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Isaac Lockwood had a 123, all six in
I
the A zone. Yeah, it's crazy.
I can't do that.
And he just posted another video. It was either 106 or 116.
That's ridiculous.
I think it was 116 with a first shot of either 5.6 or 5.9 on target. Crazy.
That's ridiculous.
That guy's cheating the galaxy somehow. I
Yeah.
don't know what he's doing,
Yeah.
but holy cow.
He
That
he
is
he got
ridiculous.
the delay on the timer figured out or something. He jumping
Yeah.
it maybe.
I think he has ESP. He knows he can, like, there's a sound that happens before the beep, so he's able
Yeah.
to time it perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Something like that.
it's crazy.
That's ridiculous.
Did you get food at the award
Let's
ceremony?
we did, yeah.
Okay. What'd you think of
Yeah.
Southern Barbecue?
It was all right. A little sweet. I'm not a huge fan of sweet barbecue, but it was all right.
So, what is Kansas City barbecue?
Kansas City barbecue is pork, but
But is
it's
it
typically not sweet. So I'm trying to think. It's hickory. Hickory's the main wood. I'm not totally up on that, but
Are you not a barbecue person?
I'm not. I don't eat a lot of barbecue. I think it's good, but I'm
I
not
feel like that's
super
un-American
into
to
it.
live in Kansas City and not eat barbecue.
Yeah, we don't go out and eat very often. But my mom likes to make the barbecue stuff and smoke stuff a lot, so we
Okay.
eat it a lot.
The range in Tulsa, is at the U.S. Shooting Academy, or is that where?
Yes, yeah, that is it. Yeah.
So if you had a choice, you would prefer Nationals be there versus CMP?
I would, yeah. For the main, it's closer for sure.
Right. But taking
It's
that
like,
out of the equation.
yeah, I like the facility. I feel a little bit better at the U.S. Shooting Academy. I probably need a few more outhouses. There probably wouldn't have been enough for nationals there,
There would have been a
but
line.
yeah, but
It looks
I
kind of
like,
funny, two people in a porta-john.
yeah, that would be weird. Um, but I like the layout of the Tulsa range a lot. There was a road that went to all the bays. And they're all pretty close together, so that was
Okay, it
cool.
sounds a lot like Frostproof.
Yeah, I
Frostproof's
think
the same way. You've got bays on each side of a road that goes down the middle, so they're all right
this
there.
is like kind of in a loop. So there's
Okay.
bays here, and then there's a road that goes all the way around that, and then there's bays over here.
Did you have any issues at CMP with lighting, like sunrise, sunset?
I did not. No. If I would have shot the wait, no, I guess I did. The block 2 or the B
Zone
section,
B? Yeah, zone B.
zone B was a little bit in a bad spot on a few of the stages, but I didn't really have a problem with it.
So you know the stage on zone B, the last stage on the far right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's down in that hole and the road goes up
Yeah.
around it.
Yep.
2 years ago, or I'm sorry, it was 2 nationals ago. It was a year ago. You know how you can't start shooting in Alabama until 9.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
I didn't know that.
that's why shooting doesn't start till
Okay.
9. It's a state law.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that. I wondered why they started it at 9 because I
Yeah,
never
not 8.
any match I'd gone to before it started at 8. So I was kind of curious as to why they started it at 9.
There
That's
you
interesting.
go.
I didn't realize that.
So on that stage a year ago, a guy ended up using his flashlight because it was dark and on that
Wow.
stage. Yeah,
That's crazy.
it is
That's
crazy.
crazy. I mean,
So
we were done shooting by like 5.
yeah,
So
I don't think it was an issue this year. It just was a year ago. That was just that one stage because it's in that hole. So
right.
I guess the
Yeah.
sun was down
It
just enough.
would have been it would have gotten darker there a lot sooner than in some of the other bays.
Because that same day that he had that problem, I was shooting zone C. So that
Mm.
up on top, and there was no issue at all. We had plenty of luck.
The sun would have been on at your back, I believe, right?
Yeah. Well, Brody, it's been a great conversation. I appreciate you
Yeah.
coming on.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, absolutely. We'll have to do this again sometime, okay?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Until next time.
Don't be a little bitch.
Yeah.